Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty critical, this evolution happening right now with AI-powered developer tools.
Yeah, it's moving fast.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you're involved in building software, you're seeing AI pop up more and more, right? And you probably want to get past the hype and understand what's actually important. So our mission in this deep dive is really to pull out the key ethical challenges, maybe some potential pitfalls, and importantly, the best practices as AI gets woven into how we actually build software.
Absolutely. And we've touched on this before, but it's worth remembering the power here, the speed, the efficiency AI brings. Think faster coding, smarter debugging. It's a huge boost.
Undeniably powerful.
But that power, well, it brings responsibility. That's the core question, isn't it? How do we use these tools that can write code, debug, even help design systems? How do we make sure we're doing it responsibly?
Yeah, how do we do that? Because it leads straight into some tricky areas like bias.
Exactly. Bias is a huge one. AI models, fundamentally, they learn from data. Whatever patterns, whatever biases exist in that data, the AI can, well, inherit them.
Okay, can you give an example? Like, how would that show up?
Sure. Think about, say, an AI tool used for screening job applicants, maybe analyzing resumes or code samples. If its training data historically favored candidates from certain backgrounds,
Okay.
it might unintentionally penalize equally qualified candidates from underrepresented groups. It just learns the existing societal bias.
Right, it learns the pattern, even if the pattern is unfair. How does that translate to developer tools specifically?
Well, imagine an AI coding assistant. If it's mostly trained on code bases from, say, large tech companies or specific open source communities, it might be less effective or even suggest less optimal solutions for different kinds of projects. Maybe projects common in smaller companies or nonprofits, or using less mainstream tech stacks.
Because it just hasn't seen enough diverse examples.
Precisely. It lacks that breadth. So the suggestions might subtly steer developers towards certain architectures or libraries, not because they're objectively best, but because they reflect the bias in the training data.
That really highlights the need to actively manage that training data, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You can't just scrape everything and hope for the best.
Not at all. Careful curation, maybe augmenting data sets to fill gaps, trying to make them more representative, that's crucial. And it's not just about the data going in.
Well,
Testing. Rigorous testing. We need methodologies that don't just check if the AI works, but if it works fairly. Does it perform equally well across different types of problems, for different types of users? We need to evaluate for fairness and inclusivity.
so testing beyond just pure performance metrics. Got it. That makes sense. Now, another big theme is transparency, right? The whole black box problem.
Yes, explainability, or XAI. It's
Yeah.
a major concern, especially with developer tools. If an AI suggests a piece of code or flags an issue, but you have absolutely no idea why, that's problematic.
Yeah, I mean, what if that code introduces a subtle security flaw? Or maybe it infringes on some kind of intellectual property license.
Exactly. And if you can't trace the reasoning, how do you even begin to debug that? How do you verify it? How do you trust the tool over time?
It feels like you lose control, in a way.
You do. And you also lose a massive learning opportunity. That's the value of explainable AI, if you can understand the why behind a suggestion.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Maybe the AI spots a complex interaction you missed or suggests a refactoring based on patterns it's seen across millions of lines of code. Understanding that reasoning helps you learn, helps you debug, and ultimately helps you build trust in the system.
So seeing the logic behind, say, a suggested code refactoring isn't just about accepting or rejecting it. It could actually teach you something new.
Absolutely. It transforms the interaction from just taking orders to more of a collaboration. You can evaluate the reasoning itself.
Which really puts the developer back in the driver's seat, doesn't it? Even with these powerful tools.
It has to. Developers are, on the front lines here. We're the ones using these tools day to day, integrating their output into real-world systems.
So we're ultimately responsible for what gets built.
Precisely. That means we can't just blindly accept what the AI spits out. Critical thinking is more important than ever. Question the output, understand its limitations, hold the systems accountable.
It's not about turning off your brain when the AI turns on.
Not at all. It's about augmenting your skills, not replacing your judgment. And this isn't just an individual thing either.
What do you mean?
It's about fostering a culture within teams, within organizations, even the wider tech community. A culture of responsibility, of ethical awareness. We need to advocate for ethical development practices.
So talking about it, setting standards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not just having guidelines on paper, but actually embedding that thinking into the daily workflow. questioning assumptions, demanding transparency, prioritizing fairness.
Okay, so if we want to build AI tools responsibly or use them responsibly, what are the concrete best practices? Where do we start?
Well, building on what we've said, meticulous data curation is number one. Really thinking about those data sets. Are they diverse? Are they representative? Are we actively working to reduce bias, not just inherit it?
Right, garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah.
but with potentially amplified negative consequences.
Exactly. Then number two is that rigorous testing and evaluation we talked about. Not just for bugs, but for fairness, for inclusivity. Using bias detection tools, setting clear fairness metrics alongside performance metrics.
Testing with ethics in mind.
And third, prioritizing explainability. Investing in XAI research, designing systems from the ground up to offer insights into their decision-making. It might be harder, it might cost more initially, but the long-term benefits in trust and safety are huge.
Make the black box less black.
Essentially, yes. And finally, maybe the most important, open and honest conversations. Engaging with ethicists, with policymakers, with the users, with the broader community. This isn't just a technical problem, it's a societal one.
So getting these practices adopted, how do we encourage that?
Education and awareness are key. We need to train developers on these ethical considerations. It shouldn't be an afterthought. Provide the tools, the resources, the frameworks they need.
Make it part of the standard developer toolkit, almost.
Ideally, yes. And collaboration is huge. Nobody has all the answers here. Sharing best practices, developing H3 standards together, working on open source tools and data sets for fairness evaluation.
So not working in silos.
Definitely not. Contributing to the AI ethics conversation, whether it's through blog posts, conference talks, or contributing to standards bodies, we all need to be part of finding the solutions.
It really feels like the future of software development is completely intertwined with getting this right.
It is. I mean, the potential is incredible. AI can revolutionize how we build software, making us more productive, more creative, maybe helping solve really complex challenges. But we need that caution, that deep sense of responsibility, focusing on fairness, on transparency, on accountability. That's how we harness the power while minimizing the risks. It's about ensuring the benefits are broad and the harms are limited.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap the key ethical points.
Yeah.
Dealing with potential bias coming from the training data, that need for transparency and explainability, so it's not just a black box.
Right, understanding the why.
The central role, the responsibility of the developer in questioning and guiding these tools.
Absolutely critical.
And then those best practices. Careful data, rigorous testing for fairness, building in explainability, and open collaboration.
You've got it. Those are the core pillars we need to build on.
So thinking about the future then, and maybe something for you, our listener, to chew on. As AI gets even more integrated, maybe helping with higher level design or even project management, what new ethical dilemmas might pop up?
That's a great question. Things we haven't even considered yet. What happens when AI starts making decisions with even broader impact? It forces you to think about your own role, doesn't it? How will you help shape a responsible AI-driven future in development?